Hi guys, it's Legionero. Welcome back to my channel, and I would like to welcome all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Today I'm going to do another tutorial modifying my quick sew 3597 pattern. And today I will be using the smaller size of the tote to make a small multicolored tote. You can use any tote bag pattern for this tutorial if you don't have quick sew 3597, and if you don't have a tote pattern, I will place measurements in the description box below. In the next slide, I will have a list of all of the tools you'll need to complete this project. That list will also be in the description box below. So let's get started. Okay, so I have traced the pattern, and again, this is the smaller size. So what I did after I traced the patterns, I made sure that I marked my handles on here, and I measured down from the top 2.5 inches, and I made a line all the way across, and then from the bottom I measured up 3 3/4 inches, and I made a line across. So now what I'm going to do, I didn't add any extra measurements to this or anything. This is just the small pattern traced, and I made my measurements down and up. Alright, so now I'm just going to take my scissors and cut across those lines. Alright, so now I have 3 separate pieces. Right, I have my top, which will be one color, my middle section, and this middle section is 7.5. I'll put all the measurements in the description box below. And then I have my bottom piece. So more than likely I'm going to use a solid for the top, a solid for the bottom, and some type of print for the middle. So let's just see what I've come up with. So when you cut out your fabric for your pieces, and these right now I'm talking about are your main pieces, you're going to cut 2 for the top, 2 for the middle, and 2 for the bottom. So let's say for instance I use a black faux leather for my top and my bottom. I'll cut out 2 of my black faux leather of the top piece and 2 of my black faux leather for the bottom. And let's say I do a cotton cloth here in the middle, I would cut out 2 pieces of the cotton cloth as well as 2 pieces of fusible fleece for the interfacing. So it would be kind of the same texture as my faux leather on the top and bottom. Alright, we're not cutting out the lining yet because we're actually going to put our main bag together first, and then we'll cut out our lining just to kind of cut down on pattern pieces. Then when you get ready to cut your handle, you'll have your handle pattern piece. Whatever fabric you choose to use, whether you're going to use the printed in the middle or the solid, it's up to you. You cut out 2 handle pieces that should be on your pattern piece. And then you decide whether you're going to do a zipper closure or a magnetic snap closure. Alright, so I have all of the pieces cut that I need for right now. Once I put one side of the bag together, then I'll cut out my lining. I'm also not cutting out a pocket for this bag, but so if you are cutting out a pocket, go ahead and cut out your pocket pieces and your interfacing pieces for your pockets. So I have my 2 handles, and they're cut out of this blue faux leather. I have my 2 bottom pieces, and they're cut out of the blue faux leather. These are my accent pieces for my bottom. These are my 2 top pieces. They are also cut out of the faux leather, the accent color. And this is the middle portion of my bag. And this is an upholstery fabric that I found at Fine Fabrics. And it's nice and thick, so I don't have to interface this. Alright? So if you are using something like a cotton cloth or a lightweight fabric, please make sure that you cut out your interfacing as well. All right. So what we can do now, just go ahead and take your 2 top pieces. So this is the top, my 2 accent pieces for the top, and then my 2 pieces for the middle. I'll slide one out of the way so you can see it a little better. All right, so here we go. So this is one of our middle pieces. So take one of your top pieces. Make sure you know which one is your top. I did that just by marking my handle placement. So I know that's the top of the bag. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place it with right side spacing. The top of my bag is going down because after I sew it and flip it up, it'll then be on the top. So you place it with right side spacing. And again, make sure you're working with the top. Take some pins or clips and clip it in place. And do the same thing to the other piece. And if you want to, you can take your bottom pieces, and you can also place those with right side spacing. All right, make sure I have it going the right way. All right, so you're placing that at the bottom of your middle piece, and make sure you clip that in place. Your cutouts for the bottom of your bag should be going towards the middle of the middle piece, if that makes sense. All right, so once you have both your top accent piece clipped and your bottom accent piece clipped, you'll take it to the sewing machine and you'll sew down both edges at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then when you finish, you flip them up and you top stitch across the bottom. Do the same thing to your other main pieces. So for my handle, since I'm using a faux leather handle, I marked the center, right? And you can draw a line all the way down if you want to. But this is just so I'll know where to place my double-sided tape, because sometimes it's hard with faux leather for everything to stay in place. And this double-sided tape is going to help me keep everything lined up. So that's why I marked the center. And you're going to fold it just like you fold a regular handle. Alright, just going to press that down. I don't have my little brayer here with me today. Alright. Just peel up that backing. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one side and get it right there in the middle of that double-sided tape. You want to make sure you leave some room for the other side because you have to stick that side as well. That's why it's best to draw a line all the way down. Right, and then do the other side. Right, and then you fold them together. And I'm just going to take some clips and clip it in place. And once you have everything clipped, you just take it to the sewing machine and sew down both sides. And when you sew down both sides, so your handle, if you're using a faux leather, increase your stitch length. So that makes it look a little bit cleaner. Your stitches won't be so close together. So maybe about a 3.5 or a 4. And if you're working with cotton cloth, you fold your handle the same way and sew it the same way. Right now, you can take both your main pieces and both your handles to the sewing machine and you can sew them all together. Alright, so this is what your main piece should look like once you add the top accent color and the bottom accent color. So then I took this piece and I cut out my lining, alright? And I'm using the same fabric that's on the outside here for my lining, because again, it's nice and thick and sturdy and I don't have to interface it. But if you are using a cotton cloth or a lighter weight fabric, just please make sure that you use your woven interfacing. Alright, so now using the marks that I made on this side of my main piece, I am going to add my strap. And once you add your strap, this is what it should look like. Alright, so use the markings for where your straps are going to be, or your handles, and then you clip them in place and then you baste across just to hold them in place. So that's what it looks like once you baste your straps. Then after you baste your straps together, take your lining pieces, place them with right side spacing, and pin or clip all the way around. And you're going to leave an opening. You can either leave your opening in the side or in the bottom. It's up to you. I'm going to leave my opening in the bottom. Clip the sides. Right, and you'll sew down the sides and across the bottom, but make sure you leave an opening in the bottom of your lining. Alright, so let's rewind for 1 second. I'm not doing this, but let's rewind for 1 second. If you were adding a magnetic snap, now would be the time to add your magnetic snap. Kind of debating and going back and forth on whether I want to add one. But if you decide to add a magnetic snap, you would add it to your lining. Alright, so what you would do, you would find the center and then measure down about 1.25 inches, and that's where you'll make your mark to add your magnetic snaps to your lining pieces. Alright, so when you see my lining again, it may or may not have a magnetic snap. But definitely after you add your magnetic snap, if you decide to add one, then you sew down the sides, across the bottom, leaving an opening in your bottom. Alright, we have both of our main pieces with the straps. So place them with right side spacing. And pin or clip down the sides and across the bottom. And then you'll sew down the sides and across the bottom. You don't have to leave an opening in the main bag, only in your lining. Once you have sewn your main bag and your lining, now we're going to do your corners. Alright, so now that your main bag and your lining are done, now we're going to do our corners. So just place your hand through the top of your lining, and then you want to bring these two corners together. So match up your seam allowances. Right? You'll pin or clip. And then sew across a 1/2 inch. And you'll do that to both sides as well as your main bag. Alright, now that we have our sides and bottoms sewn, this is my main bag. I'm going to turn it to the right side. Poke out your corners. Alright, so this is your main bag. And leave your lining with the wrong side facing up. Take your main bag and place it on the inside of your lining. And I did not add the magnetic snap. Alright, once you have your bag placed on the inside, go ahead and clip or pin all the way around. Make sure you match up your seam allowances. Alright, now take this to the sewing machine and sew all the way around. And once you've done that, you can trim your seam allowance down a little bit. And then you will pull your bag through the opening you left in the lining. Let's use the opening that we left in the bottom and turn our bag to the right side. Be sure you poke out all of your corners. You fold in this seam allowance and then close up the opening that you left in the bottom of the lining. I'm just going to sew really close to that edge. You tuck your lining on the inside of your bag. Once you straighten everything out, you top stitch and your bag will be all done. Alright, when I come back, I'll show you the finished product. That's it, guys. Now you have a really cute mini tote with accents by modifying your tote bag pattern. If you don't have a tote bag pattern or the quick sew pattern, I will place the measurements in the description box below for you, and you can follow this tutorial and make this mini tote as well. Thank you for watching. I post videos on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.